Hey guys, Jexie here. Welcome back to another video. Okay, so in today's video, I was scrolling through YouTube like I usually do, and I saw someone discussing how recently they've been having more dreams about using, and that's something I can totally relate to. And in reading the comments, it looked like a lot of other people in long-term recovery were experiencing the same thing. So I thought we'd talk about it. Okay, so first off, the one thing I've learned about using dreams is they are not a reflection of how well you are doing in your recovery. Some people are doing incredible in their recovery and they still have these using dreams. Well, why is that? Well, there's a few reasons, but I think, speaking solely look, I am not a doctor, I'm not a therapist. I'm speaking solely based on my own experience with being in recovery and using dreams, right? Because they come up. The first time that many of us have using dreams is at the very beginning of our recovery, when we're just getting into the whole recovery thing. Our brains are still used to using, and we've taken away something that we are so accustomed to having. And it's almost like our brain adjusting, which makes sense because at the beginning of recovery, our brain needs to do a lot of healing. And so by having these types of dreams, it's like our brain recognizing the fact that we're not using anymore. So, why do they happen later on in recovery? Well, I think there's a few reasons, right? Sometimes I know for myself, there'll be times where I'll watch an episode of Intervention, which is a show I really can't watch so much anymore because I do find it more triggering than I thought I did. And one of the reasons I know that is because a lot of times if I watch shows about drug use and I see images of drug use, those are days I'm more likely to have using dreams. And it makes sense, right? Again, it's your brain processing information. We know that, right? We know dreams, for the most part, are the way our brain processes information. So it makes sense that, if we see something in the day, right? And they say also, dreams are our body's way of processing information that we've seen through that day, right? So if we see imagery of using, it makes sense that at night our brain is processing that information, right? It can be jarring, especially look, no matter how long you're in recovery for, seeing someone using can be a really jarring experience, even if you didn't think it would be. I can't tell you how many times I thought I'd be okay with something and then see it and then not it unsettles me. Especially things like smoking pot, right? That's not something that ever bothered me, and it really doesn't bother me in the real world, right? But the fact is that is probably the one drug that I can see myself sometime in the future convincing myself that it's okay, right? And so it's probably the most dangerous drug for me. And so therefore when I see someone smoke pot, I can see my brain going crazy about it, right? And that makes sense on why I would have dreams like that. Another time I think that a lot of us have using dreams is when things are stressful. And with COVID, every day is stressful for so many different reasons for all of us. I had a job for a good chunk of that time. I was working with the census, but right now I'm not working. I'm in between. I had taken a dispatcher course. I still haven't received the certifications. I'm a little worried about that. I mean, maybe needlessly, I don't know. But in fact, it's right now I'm not working. And with Christmas, I'm about at, I'm not quite at a zero bank account. I think I can pay my bills next month if I spend nothing from now until the end of the year, which I don't know how I'm going to do that. I can try. Luckily I had enough to spend for Christmas, right? But that kind of feeling is stressful. How am I going to feed my kids? How am I going to pay my bills, right? I don't know. And it causes a lot of stress, and that stress and anxiety can often lead to using dreams for me. And I think that I know I've heard so many people in long-term recovery say this year that they've had more using dreams this year than any other time. Almost every recovery channel that I follow where the people are in active recovery or people who have YouTube channels that are based on other topics but are also in recovery. I have seen almost all of those people talk about how stressed out they are about different things, whether it's having a family member that's struggling with active addiction or, going through different life issues or just the same normal stuff that pretty much everybody in the world is dealing with right now. And it's hard, right? It's hard to talk about those things A lot of us, at least a lot of people in recovery that I know, are very good at keeping those feelings inside, right? Like we want to help everybody else. We want to provide hope for everybody else, but like when it comes to our own stuff, we kind of keep it in. And I know a lot of people like that. And it's so funny, right? Because a lot of us who do that, like we're the ones who will listen no matter what, right? Like if someone calls and they need to talk, like I'm the first person to listen, to pick up the phone, to be supportive. So I don't know why I struggle so much with like doing the same, right? Like calling someone and saying, "Hey, I'm a little stressed." It's okay, right? And sometimes I think it's because we don't want to put that burden on other people. But if we don't think it's a burden when other people call us, why would we be a burden to them? I had a friend who's not in recovery reach out and just ask about my daughter. And like it actually took me a little bit to respond because I was debating like going between like what's really going on or just being like things are great. So I went in the terms of just being more real, and she responded back that she's had her own struggles. Knowing that we're all kind of struggling, like we don't have to be strong and think that like everything's fine, right? Like things are hard. No matter what you believe in, no matter where you come from, no matter what's going on, like sometime in this year, like it's like the one year that collectively as a world we can say like forget it, right? Like I can't wait for this year to be over. Let's hope new things next year, right? We're all feeling that way. So there's nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed of to say like, "Hey, I'm struggling." And like I have to say lately I've been so much better than I was months ago. Like months ago, that's why I wasn't really on YouTube much. It's hard, right? And a lot of us who make YouTube videos, no matter how big our channels are, we have this feeling that like we want to record when things are good and maybe talk about how we were feeling, right? It's very rare that we come on and really give you that raw emotion as it's happening, right? Because it's a very vulnerable place and it's scary. It's scary to open up. You guys have seen some of my videos where I've done that, where I've come on camera and just cried, right? And there are times where I feel okay to do that, but sometimes when it comes to like complaining, right? Like we don't want to seem like why am I, bitching and moaning about things when everybody's going through the same stuff, right? But I think it's important to remember that like because we're going through the same stuff, like we can relate to each other and we can be supportive. There are people that I need to call and check in on, right? That I have on my list of people you need to call and check in on. And I haven't done it. And I need to, because the fact is that like we all need to call in and check on people that we love. And look, having a using dream doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, right? It's okay. The fact is that like I've seen people say like, "Oh my gosh, you have 8 years in recovery and you're still having using dreams." Like I don't want that. And the fact is like I don't have using dreams like I did when I first got clean. Like not like that at all. I have had more this year because of COVID, and I guess my anxiety levels are much higher, and which causes a lot more fear, right? And how do we a lot of us dealt with fear and anxiety by using. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense that we're feeling that way. But it doesn't mean that you're using, right? Having a dream doesn't mean you've relapsed. And it's okay. And what I would say is the best thing you can do is just share about it with somebody. Let somebody know. And I guarantee you, if you call somebody and say, "I had a using dream," you'll hear, "You know what? I had one recently too." Because I don't know anybody in recovery right now who hasn't at some point this year had one. It's a high stress time. It's normal. So let me know, have you had any using dreams? How have you got through it? How are you holding up with everything? Check in down below. Let me know how you're doing. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. It helps me so much. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. I can't even believe it. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and, check out some of my other videos. I leave things in the card and screen, all that stuff. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Bye, everyone.